Now, this weekend marks 20 years since images of Princess Diana walking through a minefield in Angola were released. It was to help raise global awareness of landmines and the plight of their victims. The charity she worked with, the Halo Trust, now warning 2 decades later that global targets for landmine clearance are at risk due to a lack of funding. Well, joining me via webcam is the Chief Executive of the Halo Trust, James Cowan. Very good to talk to you. Maybe you could tell us how things have changed in those 20 years since Diana first, I suppose, publicised worldwide just what a problem landmines were.
Well, good morning, Gavin. I'm actually sat in Wambo City, which is the city in Angola where Princess Diana came back in 1997. And it's a story in which there's some great news and, I'm afraid, some bad news. The great news is that she galvanised the campaign. Her intervention resulted in part in the Ottawa Landmine Treaty of 1997. And as a result of that, most of the world now is signed up to that treaty and seeking to get rid of landmines. The bad news is, though, that global funding for mine action has declined. And as a result, here in Angola, for instance, where I once had a workforce of 1,100 Angolans, I can now only employ 300 people. And it's going to take me 40 years to clear Angola. And that's not unusual around the world. This is a problem that we can solve. And what we do is really very simple. We stop people being killed and wounded. We give jobs to people who might otherwise be unemployed, or even in such as Afghanistan and the Taliban. We clear land for farming, and we give confidence to investors to come into countries like Angola to improve its economy. It's a job worth doing.
So where are Angola, you mentioned, Afghanistan, you mentioned, where are the other problem areas? One would guess Syria, perhaps Iraq, that area, the Middle East.
I think, Gavin, it's worth dividing the world into post-conflict countries and countries in conflict. Of course, when you get to post-conflict countries, it's much easier to work and you can spend your money much more efficiently. So good examples of that are here in Angola. Colombia is a place we're growing fast. Sri Lanka, a very vicious war there with widespread use of mines. Cambodia is another example. But countries in conflict are more difficult. Our largest country is Afghanistan. We can still work there. We've had to cut our workforce back, not because of the conflict, from 4,000 people to 2,400, but because of cuts in funding. And then, of course, the new countries. And it's not really so much about mines. I used to be in the army, and I know about IEDs. IEDs are the sort of new mine. And IEDs are the thing that are being used in Syria and in Iraq, along with barrel bombs, along with cluster munitions, along with artillery and rocketry. These things are killing a lot of people. And so what Halo's trying to do is finish the job as far as landmines are concerned and then get fit for the future to be relevant for the new conflicts.
James, thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us from Angola. James Cowan there from Halo Trust.